This is the Lotus Emeya. It's a 4-door sedan. It's all electric and it's what Lotus calls a Hyper GT. Over this video, join me on a road trip to learn more about it. The plan for the day is to drive from urban Germany to the Austrian Alps for a true GT experience. But even before a wheel turns, there's a lot to say about the Emeya. In a nutshell, it's Lotus's second EV after the Electra SUV and is part of the bigger plan to go all electric by 2028. The electrification drive ties in well with Lotus's new owner Geely's huge competencies in EVs. Then there's the way it looks. Over 5.1 meters long and 2.1 meters wide, the Emeya is a hulking car. It's longer, wider and taller than its natural rival, the Porsche Taycan, and in size, it's actually closer to a Porsche Panamera. The other thing, it's not got the long bonnet silhouette of a traditional combustion engine GT. It's an EV and its form is dictated by the electric architecture that underpins it and the huge 3-meter long wheelbase which is home to its battery pack. So, short front section leads into a large cabin that flows into a high-deck tail. It's an eye-catching shape and there are many details of interest. The curvaceous front flanks, a Lotus trademark, come embellished by quad LED strips while the main headlights sit lower down amidst an aggressive bumper. There's active aero with vents in the bumper opening and closing for best airflow and cooling, and even cooler is an air curtain that drops down on the go. Wheel arch filling 20 to 22 inch rims give the Emeya a strong stance, and what's interesting is how Lotus designers have used gloss black and carbon fiber at the wheelbase and roof to cut visual bulk. To me, the Emeya's tail is its best angle. The fastback-like rear looks ace and deftly hides a spoiler that opens in 3 stages. So what do you think of the Lotus Emeya? Would it be part of your dream garage? Let us know in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please do subscribe to the Autocar India channel and hit that bell icon to be notified every time we have a new video up. On to the inside. The Emeya is a pretty large car and you feel as much when you're sat on the driver's seat. There is a considerable distance to your co-passenger. In fact, even on the move, you have to be mindful of the car's 2-meter width. Now, as for the interior itself, yes, it is entirely shared with the Electra, but is that a bad thing? Absolutely not. It's very distinct to what we've seen on other brands, and it's got this whole identity which is very likable. Of course, the center point on the Emeya is a 15.1-inch touchscreen, which is your go-to control for most settings. Now, the good thing is you still get physical toggles for the climate control system, but irritatingly, your blower position controls is still via the touchscreen. It just doesn't make any sense. It's an incredibly slick interface, but yup, just too much packed in. Now, apart from the main touchscreen up front, the driver also gets a strip-like display which shows all the vital information. There's a head-up display as well, and the passenger also gets the vitals on a small strip-like display. Now, as for the other things, the steering is really great to hold. It's not your typical circle, but feels nice and chunky, finished in beautiful Alcantara. Your left paddle gives you regen control, your right paddle gives you drive mode control. Now, this being a GT, the seat of power is this one, the driver's seat, and Lotus has gone all out to ensure the driver isn't fatigued by these long intercontinental journeys. For instance, the driver's seat gets a massage function, it gets heating, ventilation, and the cushioning is just spot on. The other highlight, quality. Talking quality, the Emeya feels like a proper high-end product that it's intended to feel like. Everything is finished in the highest grade of materials. It's really up there with the Lamborghinis of the world. Alcantara, for instance, is standard across the board. There's a lavish use of leather on the inside, and you can also opt for a full vegan interior. There's features galore too. So you get a beautiful banging KEF sound system. You get these wing mirrors with camera pods. Now, this is not a feature that we'll get in India, and I'm thankful for that, because while it does help aero and looks really cool, referring to these high-res screens doesn't come very naturally. The other cool thing is this optional glass roof, which changes transparency at the touch of a button on the touchscreen. Really cool. Over to the back seat where the Emeya size really comes into play. The Emeya will be pitched against the Porsche Taycan, but if you compare rear seat space, it's a whole lot roomier than the Porsche that feels cozy at the back. The Emeya, it's actually pretty abundant on knee room, a good amount of leg room, and even a third passenger wouldn't be all that uncomfortable at the back. Now, headroom isn't the best for taller people like myself, but the average adult will be well catered to. The seats are comfortable, but check this out. The typical EV problem of knees up seating position, and that's because the battery pack is placed under the floor and eats up vital space. Lotus does offer two seating configurations on the Emeya. If you want that true luxury experience and don't really need all three seats at the back, you can opt for the executive package, in which the center console extends all the way to the backrest and actually splits the cabin into two sections. Boot capacity is a reasonable 509 litres on 5-seat versions, but space reduces to 426 litres on 4-seat models. There's a 31-litre frunk as well. Over to the way it drives. You know you're in something serious when the base model makes 600 horsepower. The Emeya R I'm driving right now, the range topper, makes 905. The Emeya shares its powertrains with the Electra SUV. A dual motor arrangement is standard, but the R uses a stronger rear motor that takes the output to 905 horsepower. Also unique to the R is a 2-speed gearbox to get the most out of the motors. A 102 kWh battery pack is the source of power. I think it was pretty wise of Lotus to choose a route that includes the German Autobahn, because there is absolutely no other road where you can make the most of 905 horsepower at your disposal. I'll tell you how that feels. I'm doing 110 right now. Hoofrees, I hope you're ready, because here goes. Oh, mother! There we go. 160 in the time it probably takes your budget hatchback to go from 40 to 50. The performance is mental. 0 to 100 kph takes a claimed 2.8 seconds, and top speed is limited to 256 kph. The pushback onto your seat under hard acceleration is thrilling. It just demolishes long distances as a Grand Tourer should, but when you're driving fast, you'll also notice that your range will drop rapidly as well. On the subject, the 102 kWh battery pack delivers a WLTP range of 435 km on the Emeya R, while the base Emeya in 605 horsepower spec, riding on aero-enhancing 20-inch rims, has an official figure of 610 km. The lithium-ion battery pack supports up to 400 kilowatts charging, and Lotus recently put the system to the test, delivering a 10 to 80% charge in just 14 minutes. At the moment, finding a charger capable of such speeds would entail an intercontinental drive of its own. A home AC charger will be the go-to solution for most owners in India. Back to the driving experience. The other standout element for me has been refinement. Now, of course, an electric car, you expect it to be quiet, but I'm talking beyond the noise that the powertrain is to make. Road noise, wind noise, they're all just so well contained. Noise insulation is absolutely brilliant. And mind you, I'm talking of speeds upwards of 150 kph. A lot of our driving has been on the unrestricted sections of the German Autobahn, so we have been taking quite a few liberties with the performance on tap. And even so, it's been a quiet cruise at 160 kph. I mean, those are speeds that you just won't do and shouldn't do in India. Talking sounds? Probably good in a way. Lotus hasn't dialed in any artificial sounds. What you hear is what you get. No Hans Zimmer sound effects here. It's a serene experience if you need it to be, and helping the feeling is ride comfort. Ride comfort is exceptional. It's really pliant and doesn't move around as much as you'd expect a big and heavy car like this to. their standard fit air suspension, and Lotus says the sensors on the air suspension read the road conditions 1,000 times a second. Those sensors will have to work overtime on our roads, but in Germany they're doing a really good job. It's easy to get comfortable behind the wheel, and a hands-off experience will be a possibility too. Now, interestingly, the Emeya is quite future-proof as well when it comes to ADAS functions. Currently, it's running level 2 ADAS, but it is and can be prepared for level 4 ADAS, which is hands-off, eyes off the road. It comes with 4 LiDAR sensors in addition to the radars, cameras, and ultrasonic sensors that are already on the car. So you're looking at a Grand Tourer in which, say a few years down the line, you could have the car do all the tough work of driving and just take over when the good roads start. On said good roads, the Emeya has a lot to live up to. Now over to the matter of handling. Now I'll be honest, this is my very first time driving a Lotus, but over the years I have read up a lot about how Lotuses should behave. To be true to DNA, the Emeya should have been small, light and tight, but at 5.1 meters long, well above 2 tons, the Emeya is anything but. And Elise, this is not. Judge the Emeya for its size, its weight, its class, and then you'll probably see that there is some truth to that Lotus magic after all. The steering is really well tuned, it's very feelsome, it's very engaging without being overtly sharp. And then when you come to the top tier Emeya R, you get torque vectoring by braking, you get rear wheel steering, and you get active anti-roll bars. And that completely changes the game because it makes the Emeya feel a lot smaller than it is. It's big and heavy, but also fun and manageable in a way few other 2.4 ton cars are. Grip levels are fantastic and body control is absolutely amazing. In fact, Lotus engineers tell us that they actually had to dial back some roll into the arrangement because the car was driving so flat, it felt unnatural. The Lotus Emeya comes to India very soon and will be priced slightly below the Electra SUV that ranges from 2.5 to 3 crore rupees ex-showroom. Big, heavy and electric, the Emeya is very different to a petrol head's idea of what a Lotus should be. Thing is, that's the Lotus of the past. The brand in its new avatar wants to be seen as a maker of performance EVs rather than as a sports car specialist. And this will take some recalibration on our end. As a car, the Emeya is deeply impressive. It's got the wow factor outside and inside, and performance and handling are up there with the best from the EV world. Brilliant refinement and great ride comfort round off the package, making the Emeya a car that can wear several hats. Lotus might not have top-of-mind recall among India's super luxury car buying elite as yet, but the Emeya sure makes a compelling case for itself as an addition to a multi-crore garage.